Hello and welcome inside our SATV studio for this District Spotlight. I'm your host, Fred Ryan. I'm joined today by the new Superintendent of the Shaler Area School District, Mr. Shaler Aiken. Sean, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Fred. I'm excited to have this opportunity to speak with you today and actually speak to the Shaler area community as well.
Before we get into some of the formalities, tell us a little bit about your background, kind of where you grew up and where you went to school.
Yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh kid through and through. Was born and raised in Pittsburgh, grew up in Oakmont. Went to school at a small private school in Monroeville called Greater Works Academy. Graduated from there and went off to Malone University in Canton, Ohio. And that's where I became a teacher and went off into the workforce.
You are currently working on your doctorate at the University of Pittsburgh, correct?
That's correct. I've been down at the University of Pittsburgh for a number of years, hopefully finishing up within the next year. In the midst of writing my dissertation right now and trying to fit that in addition to being a parent and working as a superintendent. It's challenging at times, but I'm going to get done hopefully in the next year.
What made you aspire to become the superintendent here at Shaler Area?
You know, I was an assistant principal here at Shaler Area back in the mid 2003, 2005, 2007. And I just really felt a strong connection to the community. And working as assistant principal, I just really saw the value of community and just the great district that this was. And at that point in time, I felt like I needed to get some additional training. And so I went off and became a principal. But I always felt like I would come back here in some respect to Shaler Area. And when I had the opportunity to come back, I knew in some regard I would be back. I didn't know it would be as a superintendent. I hoped it would be as a superintendent. But I just thought that one day I would like to be the superintendent of Shaler Area. And so when the opportunity came available over the last year or so, when Dr. Shipley decided to move on, I jumped on the opportunity. It's something that I've aspired to do. I believe in the community. I see the value of education and how highly it's placed in this community. I think the people in this community are very authentic. And when the opportunity came available, I knew and hoped that it was the right time. So I'm very excited to be here.
You talk about the district and the community. What is your vision for what you see going forward here in Shaler Area?
Yeah, it's really simple. It's every student every day prepared for college, career, workforce, whatever path they may take. And we have to keep that vision in mind from the earliest grades, from kindergarten all the way through senior year in high school. We want to keep in mind what are we doing, how are we preparing our students here for the workforce, for a career, for college, whatever that path, that career path that they may take, and really measuring out each level, kind of figuring out some benchmarks along the way to really see what we're doing and how we're preparing the students, what adjustments need to be made, and then again, even looking at students after they leave. Are they persisting in college? Are they doing well in the workforce? Are they prepared for careers? Those are important criteria to look at, I think, as a district. Not just how we do K-12, but even our graduates, and what are they doing beyond Shaler Area? And are they prepared for college? Are they prepared for the military? Are they prepared for careers? That's something that I think that we need to always keep in mind as we consider the vision for Shaler Area School District.
Aside from finances, which I'm sure we'll talk about in depth a little bit here shortly, but what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first came in here to the district, and have you been able to overcome any of them here in the short term?
One of the biggest challenges coming in, especially mid-year, is just everybody's busy, everybody's working. Coming in mid-year and trying to really grasp the complexity of a district the size of Shaler Area is very difficult. There's so many aspects. You have your school board, you have your community, you have your schools. We have 8 different schools in the district. You want to spend time in each of those schools to really understand the culture. I think coming back after, it was an advantage that I had knowing a lot of people here in the district, so that helps. But it's also a challenge to come in mid-year and just the complexity of some of the issues. And from a superintendent's perspective, from the district office, it's a little bit different. So you're dealing with many different stakeholders, parent groups, community, township, boroughs, in addition to all the financial aspects of the job. I think just understanding, kind of all the different, aspects of how are, the schools working with each other. What are our principals like in each of those schools? What are their leadership styles like? How are our teachers doing? What are our students doing? So we want to spend time. So it's a balancing act. You want to spend time in the schools, but at the same time really wrap your head around some of the challenges at the district office level is too. And my goal as a superintendent is to be in schools as much as possible. I think long term I'd like to be in schools 2 to 3 days a week, in and out of classes, working with principals, working with teachers, seeing students. That's a little bit hard when you come in mid-year. You kind of got to pace yourself and work through that, put that in your schedule, and hopefully moving forward, we'll be able to get out in schools more and more.
You mentioned knowing some of the people in the district. Who are some of the folks that helped you the most in this transition, especially talking about coming in here mid-year? Who sort of helped you out the most?
No doubt that it's good to have some people in place that have been here for a while. Start with my assistant, Dr. Brian O'Black. He's been in the district for about 7 years right now and has a pretty thorough understanding of what some of the strengths and weaknesses are, some of the needs and the challenges. And so he and I spent time even before coming in talking about those things. Organizationally, where do we have some needs? Where are our strengths? Where are the weaknesses? So it was a great opportunity for me to spend a lot of time with him during the month of November, prior to me starting, and then building my team together, spending time with our communication specialist, Bethany Baker, spending time with our Director of Human Resources, Gary Managna, our Director of People Services, Bill Watson. It's important to spend time with each one of these stakeholders. Even getting to know the board, it's important. They give a very unique perspective. One of the goals coming in that we'll talk a little bit about later is just I wanted to meet with each board member separately and have discussions with them and talk about the vision that we have as a school district and some of their experiences they have from a board member's perspective. And I was able to do that very early on, and that provided a lot of information, a lot of insight as to where we are as a school district as well.
I will ask you about that, but I want to circle back to, you talked about strengths and weaknesses. As you see the district, what are some of the strengths that you see when as you enter here?
Yeah, no doubt that one of our strengths has always been the strong community that we have. There's so much pride in the Shaler area community. I think that's something that we can never take for granted. It's a very close-knit community. Even being in a big city like Pittsburgh, yet having a small-town feel like in Shaler area. And the proximity, I think that's one. I think just the resources that we have in this community, and not just in this community, but also in the larger community of Allegheny County. Our connection to the Science Center, our connection to different corporations, our relationship with the Grable Foundation. These are all important components that really strengthen what we do here as a district. I think, we have great teachers. We have great administrators. I think, we have great families, great students. Those are strengths, and we need to capitalize on those strengths and continue to build on what we have already in place.
You talked about wanting to meet individually with the board members, and I know I read that you talked about wanting to have conversations with parents and teachers. What have some of those conversations been like, and what have been your takeaways from those?
It's interesting, everybody has a different perspective, which is unique. I think one of the things from the perspective of parents and community is we always need to keep improving about how we tell our story. How do we communicate the great things that are happening across the district? I think that's one of our focus areas. I always liken it to just telling your story. There's success happening at every different level across the district, making sure that that message gets out, not just in the media. The media is important, whether it's the newspapers, the Post-Gazette, the Trib, the Shaler Journal, but it's also about utilizing our website as well to communicate the great things that are happening all the way from the primary to the elementary to the middle school to the high school, and the great things that students are doing. It's important that we highlight those things so that people understand the Shaler Area School District is truly a great school district.
Now we talked about some of the areas of strength. Where specifically can the district improve?
I think in my short time here, in the 6 months that I've been here, I think one of the areas that we can improve is through communication and working across the school districts. Obviously, currently our footprint is we have 5 primaries, an elementary school that's 4 through 6, middle school 7, 8, and high school. I think working across those areas to bridge the transitions that we have is definitely an area of focus. So when we talk about curriculum, when we talk about instruction or assessment, we're not only looking 9-12, but looking 7-12, or looking 4 to 8, or looking K to 5 or K to 6. I think, vertically articulating our curriculum, our assessments, to make sure that there's communication across the different levels. I think that's going to be an area of focus over the next year, to make sure that we're having those conversations. It's kind of like the concept beginning with the end in mind. If we know where our seniors are going to be, then what are we doing to prepare our students to get there? Not only 9-12, but 7-12. Not only in 7th and 8th grade, but what are we doing in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade to get our students where they need to be in 7th and 8th grade? So just thinking backwards and planning backwards, that's, I think, an important concept for us to think about and really to tackle over the next year.
Obviously, finances have been a big challenge, and they're obviously a big part of the long-term stability of the district going forward. What can the people in the district do to help not just overcome those things, but excel?
I think it's going to be important that we work together. This can't be just the efforts of the district administration or the school board or the principals or the teachers. This has to be a collaborative effort. The community working together. I think we have to look at every area, everything that we do. One of the district priorities is always going to be around operational efficiency and fiscal responsibility. That requires us to look at every different department, every different area, to really think about is this the best way to do what we're doing? Or is there another way? Is there a cheaper way? Is there a more cost-effective way? One area that's simple that I have some experience in is just through energy conservation. So I think that's an area that we can look at and say, is that an area where we could save some money? Other areas, we should constantly be looking at our athletic program, our academic program, our activities that we offer to students, and really questioning whether or not that we're being fiscally responsible. It's being fair to the taxpayers of Shaler Area. It's being fair and fiscally responsible for the academic program that we have in place. We don't want to sacrifice anything that we're doing for students. We just always want to ask the question, is there a better way to do what we're doing?
And I imagine that leads to some very tough and possibly unpopular decisions, which I imagine is maybe the biggest challenge of what you have looking forward.
Yeah, we faced some of those decisions this spring. We went through the process and discussed our current staffing model, and we had identified the reduction of some positions that could ultimately lead to furloughs. We were able to walk through that process and really think about that and the impact of that, and we were able to achieve what we needed to achieve through an aggressive attrition model. And moving forward, by no means have we figured this out. This is going to be a challenge that we're going to face for the next 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 years. So every district is facing this right now, not just Shaler Area. And constantly looking at our staffing model is going to be something that we're going to need to do. Working together with our associations across, not only the teachers, but the clerical and also the maintenance and custodial association and unions. I think it's going to be important for us to work collaboratively together, looking at our administrative footprint too, to see, is this the right organizational model that we have in place? Is there a better way that we can do that? We have to constantly ask the question, in this community, do we have the right people in place for the size of our district? Obviously, our district's changed a little bit over the last 10 years. We've had a reduction in enrollment. So it's important to always right-size that to make sure that we're utilizing our human resources in the best way possible.
Talked about reduction in enrollment over the past 10 years, and we've also talked a little bit about the challenges you face over the next 5, 7 to 10 years. Where do you see this district 5, 7, 10 years from now?
It's exciting. Honestly, you just read in the Post-Gazette last week an article about the resurgence of Millvale and Etna. That's exciting. I am excited to see where we can go as a district. I honestly think that the sky's the limit. I think that we're going to grow together. I understand that we've had a declining enrollment here. But I fully expect that is going to turn around and we're going to move in the other direction as well too. With the academic programs that we have in place and some of the energy we have around STEAM initiatives and some other academic programs, it's exciting to see our students engaged in kind of the current trends within education. And I think that we offer a tremendous academic program for our students, and I fully expect that we're going to see tremendous growth, assessment scores, but more importantly even just preparing students for whatever areas they may choose after graduation.
Finally, if you had just one message to share with the students of the district, what would that be?
I think it's important that our students know that first and foremost, we care about our students. We care about each one individually. Sometimes in a district our size with almost 4,500 students, you fall into the trap that you don't personalize it enough. We want to personalize it for our students of Shaler area. We want to create a nurturing environment where our students are growing and developing and being prepared for whatever choices they make in life. I think about like K-3. I want every student by the 3rd grade level to be able to read on grade level. 4, 5, 6, I want them to think and start to really explore and learn who they are as a learner, who they are as an individual. I think that's so important in those middle grades there. 7th and 8th grade to really get their hands dirty and really start to kind of explore what are some of their passions. 9, 12, I think that's when they really start to take off and they have those passions. I want them to pursue those passions and really to understand who they want to be. Not just, I think it's so important that we as a district not solely focus on the academic development, but also the character development of our students. And I want our students to know that we care about them more than just what their test score says they are, that they are more than just a test score, that they are an important member of society, they are an important member of this community in Shaler area. I think that is the message that I want our students of Shaler area to understand. And we're going to do whatever it takes to prepare them for whatever path they choose in life. I think about the term just, every student, every day. And that is our goal as a district. How can we be student-centered? How can we create the best academic experience, athletic experience, the arts experience, whatever area they choose to pursue, we want them to be prepared and we want them to walk out of here after graduation and be successful as an adult, as a member of society.
Well, Sean, as a graduate and someone who knows the district well, I certainly echo your sentiments. This is a great community and a great place to be, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts today.
Thanks, Fred.
Sean Aiken, the new Superintendent of the Shaler Area School District. We thank you for taking the time to share with us here in this district spotlight. I'm Fred Ryan saying have a great summer, and we will see you in September.